5. The uninvited guest. A heavy silence filled the Morrison home. The family was mourning the death of their eldest son, Marcus, who had been killed in combat in Afghanistan. No one felt the loss more deeply than Sarah, his mother. One quiet morning, with her husband and youngest son gone for the day, Sarah sat alone staring at a photo of Marcus. Her face was tight with grief, eyes dull, posture frozen. Then a knock broke the stillness. At the door stood a young man who introduced himself as Michael Torres, a former army sergeant and Marcus's close friend. Sarah, drained by sorrow and disarmed by his calm presence, let him in without hesitation. Inside, Michael told her he'd been with Marcus in his final moments. He said Marcus's last words were about his love for his family. Sarah listened, said nothing, then walked out of the room. Behind the door, she collapsed completely, overcome. Moments later, Sarah returned with a fragile calm. Her eyes were still, red but her voice steady. She found Michael standing near a photo of Marcus and his unit. He pointed to a man in the lineup, said it was him. The face in the picture looked close enough. Michael apologized for dropping by uninvited and offered to leave, but Sarah told him to stay. She wanted her family to meet him. She even offered him Marcus's old room for the time being. The two spoke more, slowly easing into conversation. Then Anna, Marcus's sister, stepped out dressed for work. Sarah made the introduction, but Anna only gave Michael a quick look, uninterested. To her, he was just another face from the past. Soon after, Ryan, the youngest, returned home. He walked, with hesitation. At school, he was an easy target, bullied constantly for being gay. The abuse had turned physical. Just days ago, he'd been slammed into a locker. His face still showed the bruise. Michael spotted the bruise on Ryan's face as soon as he walked. Then he asked what happened. Ryan claimed it was from gym class, football. Before Michael could question it, Thomas, Sarah's husband, entered. Thomas wasn't as accepting as Sarah. While Michael introduced himself to Ryan, tension rose in the hallway. Sarah and Thomas were arguing. Thomas didn't trust Michael. Even if he knew Marcus, he was still a stranger and possibly unstable. A soldier with trauma could be a risk to the household. Eventually, Thomas gave in. He agreed to let Michael stay, at least for now. As a reluctant peace offering, he handed Michael a drink. It wasn't trust, but it was a start. That evening, while the rest of the family sat down to eat, Anna was at the park with her boyfriend Jake. She told him about Michael. She thought he seemed polite enough, but something didn't sit right. She feared his arrival might drag her parents back into grief, just as they were starting to heal. But sometimes when someone walks into your home uninvited, they're not just a visitor, they're something else entirely. After dinner, Thomas and Michael sat in front of the TV, talking quietly. Thomas opened up. He spoke about work, how a colleague had climbed the ladder fast while he stayed stuck. The pressure to provide, the fear of falling behind, it was eating at him. Michael listened closely. He didn't say much, but his presence was steady. The connection between them grew quickly. When Michael mentioned he planned to leave the next day, Thomas pushed back. He told him to stay. He meant it. David tried to refuse, but Thomas wouldn't budge. In the end, Michael agreed. The next afternoon, Ryan was caught off guard when Michael showed up to pick him up from school. Michael told him Sarah had approved it, but he had another reason. He wanted the truth about the bruise. He didn't believe the football excuse. Calm but firm, Michael asked Ryan to point out who had done it. Ryan hesitated, then gave in. Michael followed the boys. They ended up at a bar. Ryan was unsure at first, scared to go in, but after a pause, he followed Michael through the door. Despite his sudden arrival, Michael came prepared. He spotted the Bullies drinking cheap beer and sent over the most expensive drinks on the menu. It didn't take long before they realized who had paid. One of them, feeling insulted, threw the drink straight in Michael's face. The rest laughed. Michael didn't flinch. He wiped his face, then hurled his own drink back right into the boy's eyes. The sting hit instantly. In the same moment, Michael exploded into action. Two of them went down hard, hit with clean, brutal punches. The last two didn't last long. A couple of strikes each, and it was over. Ryan got caught in the chaos and took a minor hit, but he was okay. Unfortunately, the bar owner didn't like what he saw. He grabbed a baseball bat and stepped forward, but Michael stood firm. He reminded the man serving alcohol to minors could get him in serious trouble. Then, with cold efficiency, Michael handed him a bribe. The message was clear: stay out of it. Not long after, when Anna got home, she mentioned she was heading to a party at her friend Melissa's house. Sarah encouraged her to take Michael along, saying it's what Marcus would have wanted, his sister and his friend spending time together. Anna hesitated, but gave in while Michael accepted without question. Before they left, Anna went to shower. But as she reached the bathroom, the door swung open. Michael was inside. The moment caught her off guard. She froze, not just from surprise, but from the unexpected. Phew. It was brief, awkward, and quickly over. They moved past it. At the party, Anna introduced Michael to her friends, Jake, Craig, and Melissa, the host. Michael stood out immediately, and Melissa was clearly interested. Her interest only grew when Michael stepped between her and her aggressive, shutting down the confrontation without hesitation. Later that night, Melissa brought Michael to her room. They slept together, but something felt off. Michael barely reacted. His face stayed blank and his presence distant. Later that night, Michael spoke with Craig, a known dealer who also moved illegal goods. Once Craig found out Michael had a military background, he offered his services. Anything, anytime. Michael didn't hesitate. He said he needed a gun. When Craig asked why, Michael gave a cold smile and said it was simply because he was a soldier. After exchanging numbers, Michael noticed Anna in a heated argument with Jake. She was clearly upset. A few minutes later, she asked Michael to leave the party with her, even though it was still going strong. During the ride home, Michael brought up the argument. At first, Anna didn't say much, but then she let it out. Jake had no job and no plans for the future. He still sold drugs on the side, but even that was half-hearted. She was tired of it. Michael listened and said a few kind words that seemed to lift her mood. She smiled and promised to make him a mixed CD. The next morning, Anna went looking for Michael to give him the CD. But before she found him, she overheard something that froze her in place. Michael was on the phone calmly talking about dental records, fingerprints, and people trying to track him. He said he needed a new face, one no one could recognize. Anna was shaken. Something about Michael didn't add up. Acting on instinct, she called the military base where he claimed to have served. But instead of a service record, the screen showed a warning. Classified. Refer to KPG Private Corporation. The operator followed protocol and contacted KPG. A man on the other end gave clear instructions. Anyone asking about Michael Torres was to be told he was dead. After the call, the man walked into a conference room where Major Harrison, head of KPG, was holding a meeting. He reported the inquiry. Anna Morrison had called. The moment Harrison heard her name, he connected the dots. She was Marcus's sister. Harrison didn't hesitate. He ordered a flight, assembled a squad of elite marksmen, and set his course for the Morrison home. At the same time, Michael was meeting Craig and an arms dealer in a quiet location, but he hadn't come to buy. After checking one of the weapons, he turned it on the dealer and shot him on the spot. Craig bolted, but he didn't get far. Michael raised the gun and dropped him without emotion. With both men dead, Michael searched their vehicle and took everything, several firearms and 2 grenades. He was ready for what came next. Back at the house, Anna got a call from the military base. The verdict was clear. According to official records, Michael Torres was dead. The news hit hard. She planned to tell Sarah immediately, but before she could, Thomas walked in with shocking news of his own. His boss, the one he had resented for years, was dead. Both he and his girlfriend had been found murdered. Police hadn't identified a suspect, but the woman's body was badly bruised. Despite the grim circumstances, Thomas had finally received the promotion he'd been chasing for so long. The day got even stranger. Anna heard from Jake that Craig had been found dead too, but Michael had covered his tracks. He planted evidence in Jake's car and apartment, framing him for the killing. With no other choice, Anna decided to hold back the truth from her parents, at least for now. Instead, she met with Melissa at work and revealed what she had learned. Michael Torres had supposedly died a week ago in a hospital fire caused by an oxygen tank explosion. 19 people were killed. Michael was one of them, at least on paper. Disturbed by what they had uncovered, Melissa urged Anna to dig deeper. She told her to check Michael's ID and review his recent calls. Melissa also reminded her Ryan was good with computers. He might be their best shot at finding the truth. While Anna and Melissa planned their next steps, Michael was having a private talk with Ryan. He told the boy never to let anyone push him around again. If it came to it, he said, fight back, and if that wasn't enough, carry protection. With that, he handed Ryan a butterfly knife, one he clearly valued. Later that evening, Anna made her move. She snuck into Michael's room, snapped photos of the numbers in his call log, and slipped out. But in her hurry, she made a mistake, leaving the phone on the bed instead of where she found it. As a result, Michael noticed immediately. He knew someone had gone through his things. Despite this, Anna knew she needed more than phone numbers. She gathered her family and laid everything out. She told them about Craig's death, how Jake was being framed, and how no one really knew who Michael was if he was truly Michael Torres. She said it was time to prove it. But Michael didn't flinch. He had a story ready. He said he had served in a secret operations unit and was wounded in action. Because of the classified nature of his missions, the military had created a false narrative to protect him. He claimed he had recently recovered his dog tags and could show more documents from his bag if needed. For Sarah and Thomas, the dog tags were enough. They trusted him without hesitation. Thomas even demanded Anna apologize for questioning him, but she immediately refused. "Anna Morrison, you owe him an apology right now." "Hell no," Anna shot back. Crushed and furious, Anna locked herself in her room and broke down. A short while later, Michael knocked. He spoke softly, expressing sympathy over Craig and Jake. He said if his presence made her uncomfortable, he would leave in a few days. Before walking out, he picked up the mix CD she had made and thanked her. Days later, while driving Ryan to school, Anna shared her plan. She told him she needed help figuring out who Michael really was. She had traced one of the numbers he called to a doctor, someone stripped of his license after performing facial surgery while drunk. She asked Ryan to start there and dig deeper. Ryan didn't waste a second. As soon as he got to school, he started digging into the lead Anna had given him. But one of his bullies hadn't backed off. The boy came at him again, slinging the same slur. "Hey, freak, are you looking for someone to do your sex change operation this time?" Ryan didn't take it. Fueled by Michael's words, he snapped. He fought back, beating the boy until he cried out in pain. After the incident, both were sent to the principal's office. Sarah was called in, and she arrived with Michael. When Michael heard what happened, he praised Ryan for finally standing up for himself. Inside, the principal laid down the verdict. Violence wouldn't be tolerated, and Ryan was to be expelled. In response, Michael pushed back immediately. He called the decision wrong. The bully had used a hateful slur. That was a hate crime. Ryan had been targeted for who he was over and over again, and now that he defended himself, he was the one punished. Michael made it clear if the school went through with the expulsion, he and Sarah would sue. What did the kid call him? "I don't think that's relevant to this conversation." "Excuse me, so that makes it a hate crime." Surprisingly, the threat worked. The principal folded. Ryan wasn't expelled. Instead, he got a month of after-school detention. Feeling like he owed Michael everything, Ryan made a tough choice. He turned on Anna. He told Michael that Anna believed he was behind Craig's death and planned to go to the police to clear Jake's name. Ryan admitted that he was starting to think she might be right. He also knew Michael had contacted a surgeon to change his face and guessed Craig might have killed Thomas's boss. Still, Ryan said none of it mattered. Michael was his friend. He wouldn't say a word. Michael looked relieved and smiled. He asked if Anna had told anyone else. Ryan said she might have told Melissa. Later that day, Michael helped Sarah with the laundry in the backyard. She thanked him not just for the chores, but for everything he had done for their family. Michael, calm and modest, told her it was nothing. He even offered to take care of the rest himself. As he stepped inside with an armful of clothes, trouble arrived. Harrison and his elite team pulled up fast and quiet. Harrison approached Sarah, showed her a photo, and asked if she recognized the man. Nervous, Sarah confirmed that the man was Michael. He had just gone inside. Hearing this, everyone turned toward the house. Michael appeared in the doorway holding laundry, but he saw the threat instantly. Without hesitation, he dropped the clothes, pulled his gun, and shot 2 soldiers before slipping back inside. Inside the house, Michael moved fast. A bullet had torn into his thigh, but he didn't stop. He wrapped the wound tightly, then grabbed the stolen weapons he had hidden earlier. When a soldier moved toward the window, Michael took him out with a single shot, triggering a barrage of gunfire from outside. Pinned down, he crawled beneath a bed and waited. A soldier crept in, unaware. As the man passed, Michael shot him in the leg. The soldier dropped. Michael finished him with a shot to the head, then quickly took down another who entered seconds later. With their team shrinking, the remaining soldiers opened fire on the house in full force. Michael stayed low, grabbed his gear-packed backpack and made his way to the kitchen. There he found Sarah shaking, crouched, dialing the police. He grabbed the phone before she could speak. Sarah was terrified and wanted answers. She wondered who the men were, what was going on, and whether Michael truly knew her son. However, Michael said nothing except for the last part. He clearly knew Marcus. They had been part of the same program, and Marcus, he said, would have understood what had to be done. Sarah's faith in Michael was gone. She screamed, trying to warn the soldiers outside, but she didn't get the chance to finish. Michael stabbed her, ending her life instantly. With Sarah dead, Michael knew he had to escape. He moved quickly, killing the remaining soldiers and disabling their vehicles by shooting out the tires. Only Harrison was still alive. Desperate, Harrison jumped into a car with flat tires and took off, trying to catch up. At the same time, another car sped toward Michael. It was Thomas. Michael didn't slow down. He buckled up and drove straight into him. The impact wrecked both cars. Michael got out, walked to the crumpled vehicle and saw Thomas barely conscious, bleeding. Without hesitation, Michael apologized and shot him dead. Then he left the wreckage behind and disappeared into the distance on foot. Moments later, Harrison reached the crash site. It was too late. He spotted an old man nearby, showed his credentials, and took the man's vehicle. He headed straight for the diner where Anna worked. Inside, Harrison approached her. He introduced himself and told her it was about Michael. At the mention of the name, Anna didn't ask questions. She agreed to go. Moments after Harrison and Anna pulled away, Michael arrived at the diner in a stolen car. He walked inside and spotted Melissa, the only one working. He asked where Anna had gone. Melissa didn't have the details, but confirmed Anna had just left. Michael immediately knew where she was headed. She was going to pick up Ryan. That was enough for him to decide Anna had become a threat. She knew too much. She had to be eliminated. But first Michael turned on Melissa. He killed her on the spot right in front of everyone. Then without pause, he threw 2 grenades into the diner. The explosion destroyed everything. No one inside survived. There would be no witnesses. Meanwhile, Anna and Harrison were on the road heading to Ryan's school. During the drive, Harrison delivered devastating news. Both her parents were dead. Then he told her the full truth about Michael. He wasn't just a former soldier. He was part of a military experiment. His mind had been altered, trained to kill anyone who threatened to reveal who he really was. And even if he wanted to stop, it might no longer be possible. Michael's trail of violence had started long before he showed up at the Morrison house. He had broken out of the facility, killing several people along the way and burning their bodies to throw off pursuit. Investigators believed he died in the fire. For a while, no one knew where he had gone until Anna called the military base. That call gave him away. At the same time, Ryan was at school serving detention by helping set up the haunted house for the Halloween dance. The teacher in charge didn't allow phones, so when Anna tried to warn him, he didn't see the call. Shortly after, Anna and Harrison reached the school just in time. They rushed inside and found Ryan with the teacher, but before they could say anything, the lights went out. A familiar song started playing, the one from the mix CD Anna had made for Michael. It was a clear signal Michael was inside. Harrison quickly told the teacher to take them out the back. Their only escape route led through the mirror maze, but as the teacher turned the first corner, Michael was waiting. He stabbed him without hesitation, killing him instantly. With no time left, Harrison told Anna and Ryan to run while he stayed behind to face Michael. But the plan fell apart. Michael didn't rush. He toyed with Harrison, then stabbed him repeatedly. Harrison tried to crawl away, bleeding heavily. In the end, he died alone, surrounded by shadows. Now only Anna and Ryan remained. But Ryan still couldn't accept the truth. He believed Michael was just running from danger, not trying to hurt them. That changed when Anna told him Michael had murdered their parents. She broke down in tears, begging him to understand. He killed Mom and Dad. Finally, he believed her. Moments later, Anna told Ryan to hide. She would draw Michael away and keep him distracted. During this time, Ryan was to stay hidden until help arrived, or it was safe to move. Then the hunt began. Michael moved through the school, searching room by room. The siblings stayed out of sight, but Anna made the first move. She caught up to him in the dark, raised the gun she had taken from Harrison, and fired into his chest. Michael dropped to the floor, but the air was thick with smoke. In the confusion, she lost sight of his body. This time, Michael struck first. He came out of the shadows and stabbed Anna in the leg just as she raised the gun for another shot. Her bullet went wide, shattering a light fixture and sparking a fire. Injured and unable to fight back, Anna was moments from being strangled. When Ryan broke his promise, "Stop it!" he stepped out of hiding and drove the butterfly knife into Michael. At that moment, Michael dropped instantly. But instead of fighting back, he looked at Ryan, smiled, gave him a thumbs up and told him he had done the right thing. He said there was nothing to feel guilty about. In response, Ryan and Anna escaped as flames tore through the school. Outside, fire trucks and police arrived in force. The two were rushed to an ambulance, bruised but alive. The worst seemed to be over. Once the officer came out, the unsettling news arrived. Only 2 bodies had been recovered from the fire. As responders moved through the wreckage, Anna caught sight of a firefighter limping out of the building. He suddenly stopped, looked at her, and in that moment she knew the nightmare wasn't over. And with that, the story comes to an end. So the moral of the story is never trust a man who shows up with a tragic backstory, emotional wisdom, and suspiciously good combat skills. He's probably not there to heal, he's there to finish the sequel.